All right, rivalry week has come to an end. Texas beats Texas A&M in the what are they calling it now? Lone Star Showdown, 17-7. Um, what a great win! What a great way to end Thanksgiving. Um, Taking home, another year of bragging rights. If 13 wasn't enough, let's move on to 14 years of Texas football bragging rights over the Aggies. Looks like 108, 109,028, third largest in SEC history. Stadium seemed loud, watching it on TV. Didn't look like it affected the Texas offense at all. So credit to those guys for being ready. I think there was a false start on the Aggies, I know for sure, early on. But yeah, large crowd. They were into it the whole game. Um, yeah, even there in the fourth quarter, it seemed like they were pretty loud. But great win by Texas again, 17-7. Looking at some of the numbers, I think Texas had, about 248 or 240 rushing yards, 243 to be exact. A&M had 248 total yards. So you win the rushing battle, and if you go back to the Mac Brown era, anytime they rushed for over 200 yards, they were basically undefeated. So offensive line dominated this game. Um, but let's just get into our initial thoughts. And Brett, start with you.
Oh my gosh, this game meant so much. Going into it, I've had butterflies all week. I was a nervous wreck yesterday. You have 13 years. Someone phrased it really well. You had 13 years of a Cold War between Texas and Texas A&M, right? It was recruiting battles. It was bringing better players. It was trying to compare rankings and schedules and all this other stuff. But there was no real battle. And so you had this 13-year hiatus. Texas had won the last one, gone out with with our worst quarterback of all time, Case McCoy. He beat you in your own stadium, 27-25. You in 2021, the announcement that Texas is going to the SEC to to go find their little brother so we can put our consistent beatdowns on them again. The notifications out there. There's teams that are smack talking, telling us that we're not SEC ready. We're not SEC ready. So you have a 3 year notice that this game's coming. When what happens when you finally get there? The SEC rewards A&M and gives them another home game. So the two biggest games in rivalry history are both at Kyle Field. So you're nervous about that. You got 3 year hiatus. You got Sark has 3 year notice to get his team ready to play in these types of games and these types of environments. We finally get to the big game. It's 2 days after Thanksgiving, right where it should be. Um, and what happens? Texas puts a good old fashioned SEC whooping on A&M on both sides of the trenches, offensive line and defensive line. Just whooped them up and down the field. Been rushing for 240 yards. When you know it's happening, being able to do that, that's SEC football. There's nothing better than being able to put A&M back in their little brother place. That's who they are. That's who they're always going to be. They're always just going to be trying to keep up to Texas. This was fun. This was fun. I celebrated hard. Bragging rights on these types of games last forever. What an awesome way to introduce ourselves into the SEC.
Man, you had some demons to get out there. I like that, Brett. First of all, Case McCoy was not the worst quarterback in Texas history. Okay, he's an American hero. All right, he beat OU and A&M in two games we had no business winning. So he's forever a Longhorn legend, in my opinion. Um, my initial thoughts, man. Again, the anticipation was certainly there. What a fun week leading up to it, as we talked about previously. Um, Had a lot of smack talking with friends. I tried to keep it away from my family because I don't want there to be bad blood. But we did text a little bit, and hopefully, they had some good, nice, sweet Thanksgiving leftover felt tears. And at the end of the day, yeah, like we 13 years ago sent him out with a loss, welcome him back with another loss. Only thing I have to say is, all right, Kyle Field, yep, you're big bad, you got the 12th man. Well, here at Texas, it only takes 11. So we'll see you next year in DKR, baby.
Yeah, real quick on Brett's point from a couple videos ago. Texas first year in the SEC. playing A&M, and the winner goes to the SEC championship, something A&M has never done in their, 13, 12-year history in the SEC. So again, whether you like it or not, Big Brother is an accurate term. Texas owns the series record. We come into your conference, um, and we beat you on your field, and we do something you've never done before. And we knocked you out of the playoff. A&M wins this game, they might get into the playoff. So anyway, this was what rivalry games are about. Is now the hate is even more, in there for next year because they're going to remember that. And Mike Elko, I think he's a good coach. Next year, they're going to remember this. Hey, they knocked us out, and we didn't welcome them to the SEC the way we wanted to. So anyway, but now Texas probably still won't have a ranked win. If A&M drops out of the top 25, so they're going to throw that in there that Texas really doesn't have any good wins. Hey, we beat who we played. So um, Texas defense. Let's start there. What a performance! 0 points allowed, less than 300 yards again. I don't think we've given up 300 yards in a single game all year. This Texas defense is flying to the ball. Um, and yeah, the defensive line stopped the run game. Let's see the stats here. A&M had 102 yards rushing total. So great job by the defense. Justin, we'll start with you this time. Any highlights from the defense and talk about some of the things you saw in that performance?
Yeah, no, I mean it's what we talked about, in our preview is we've all felt very confident in the defense. I don't think that not many teams in the country, certainly not the Aggie offense, was going to be able to run all the way down the field and put up touchdowns. We had three fourth down stops, two of them in the red zone, which was huge, right? For me to be able to still stand pat by that. And one of my other predictions from way back long ago, I've been tracking it all season. I said I didn't think the Texas defense will let up 100 points in SEC play. Well, if you take out the two defensive touchdowns we let up 104 points on the season. So pretty damn close, but that shows you how good that defense has been playing all season long. And that's why we love watching them, have so much faith in them. So, Vernon Broughton, the safeties, the linebackers, the defensive line, honestly, in totality, Burke had a couple of great plays. He came in there. Just all around, I think that the good thing was, again, what we talked about in the preview was at Kyle Field, the defense could communicate totally fine, and it showed. Like they were very much in sync, ready to move. They were switching when they needed to. And honestly, better quarterback play from Marcel Reed. They probably get a couple bigger chunk plays there. There were definitely some missed throws from some miscommunications on Texas defense, but dude, what a showing! I mean, that's how you welcome them, or you say, "Hey, we're here to stay and play in the SEC championship." So I loved watching the defense. Never had a doubt in my mind that those guys would show up.
Mhm. Yeah, that defense is so special, and it's so much fun to watch them. Even plays where you think, "Oh, A&M's about to bust this." I think there was a third and long, and they dialed up a screenplay, and it looked like we didn't have any defenders in the area. And I don't know if it was Amari Daniels or Ruben Owens making a surprise appearance, but one of those guys caught in the backfield, and all of a sudden Anthony Hill and Leonga Fowl and like every one of our safety and defensive backs was like in the picture and taking over. Yeah, they just fly to the ball, and they've kind of similar to our offensive line. It feels like they've become more cohesive as a unit throughout the year. Like our edges can really trust our defensive backs to be sticky as they're trying to get that pass rush home. Um, I thought I was really impressed with the defense's overall ability to contain Marcel Reed. They made him one dimensional. They tried to let him beat them, or they gave him the opportunity to beat us with his arm. He clearly didn't trust it. He was uncomfortable in pocket, and we didn't have any guys that were. Maybe once or twice we got out of our pass rush lanes. I think I remember Alfred Collins getting in that situation maybe once, and Marcel Reed ran for 20 yards or something like that. But outside of that, he looked super uncomfortable, and if he was going to run anywhere, it was going to be backwards.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about fourth downs, um, decisions, execution. Um, Initially, first drive of the game, A&M does a really good job. I think their opening script was well done. There might have been a penalty in there that helped them as well. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, kudos A&M opening up the game with offensive game plan. They drove down the field into the red zone, and then 4th and 1. What happens? This was a theme throughout the game. Texas defensive stop, and then Texas gets the ball. Um, and I'm losing track of this game a little bit. We go down there, 4th down, the Arch Manning red zone package we've never seen before. This is a new um, wrinkle to the Sark playbook. It's like 4th and 3 actually, so it's not a short 4th down. And I had just told my wife I thought A&M should have kicked the field goal on 4th and 1. Now Texas is going for it on 4th and 3. Um, and what do? Arch runs it in, and we'll get into this maybe later. Touchdown, hits the pylon. Um, and
Was
then
that Arch
obviously
Manning? Was that Arch Manning or was that
yeah,
Tyrone? I couldn't tell.
Tyrone? No, no. I'm
Never got the
Tyrone.
edge like that. Tyrone just went straight. He never got the edge.
Um, yeah,
18-wheeler package, baby.
but yeah, hey, 18 wheeler package. Good
16 wheel
callback.
package.
Um, yeah, but to that play, and then again the other 4th down and 1 at the end of the game. Um, man, A&M 3rd and 1 tried to run it up the middle,
Nope.
nothing. 4th and 1 tried to run it to the right, and it was like a 3 or 4 yard loss. Was that Burke that
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 was
shot
Burke.
through
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Wow,
He
what a
didn't even
great
shoot the gap. He was
Yeah.
on the backside of the play.
yeah. So it's unblocked backside edge.
Yep.
Um, they
Smart.
don't plan to block that because you're so far away from the ball. What an effort play.
Yeah.
And I will say I think the 3rd and 1, big number 15, transfer D
Bill Norton.
tackle. Yeah, Bill Norton Jr. Um, not related to Cal Norton, but man, he stuffed that offensive line. And then okay, we're getting a little early into maybe some players of the game. Broughton, man, some of those pass rush moves he was doing. I know we're supposed to be talking about 4th downs.
And they were against the Zoom kid who was talking all the
Yeah,
crap. There's one
yeah,
where he just ended up on his backside and
yeah. I remember that, and that was just like a little
Vernon had
hand.
already been brought
He
in.
just kind of hand fought him, and then the
He did.
guy,
He booty
he
trapped
fell,
him.
kind of going back him. But yeah,
What trash talk did that guy do? I didn't see that.
He was the one that said Anthony Hill wasn't anything. He was like, yeah, we've seen linebackers like that before.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Um, so I was listening to Mike Elko's post game press conference and his decisions on the first 4th down, um, on the first drive. His thought process was it's a rivalry game. You're going to need touchdowns to win it. They had a good opportunity. They thought they could get a yard. I think that's you validate that decision. And then the one at the end of the game, that pretty much sealed the game for Texas. Obviously they were down by 10. They would need 2 scores to get back in the game, potentially win or tie. They felt that a 4th and 1 was their best opportunity to get a touchdown, rather than kick the field goal. So, potentially a different game if they kick field goals both times on 4th down in the red zone. But it is what it is. Texas defense executed. Texas A&M offense did not on the 4th downs. Um, Anything else on the 4th downs or the Arch red zone package? Justin's named the 16-wheeler package.
Yeah, no, I mean the 4th down defense was fantastic. The 4th down offensive play calls were great. We as well were watching the game, and Alyssa, my wife, said, wait, why is Arch going in? Why is Arch going in? I said, no, this is a great call. He's really mobile. Get him in there, give the whole team options. It's something that A&M's probably not expecting at this point. And I don't know if they realize just how fast he is. I was like, expect a read option. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. It was probably an option with a throw, honestly, but he was like, I got this guy. And I mean, he powered through the first guy and really powered through second guy to hit the pylon, which was, I would say, if an Aggie wanted to tell me it was a controversial play, I would agree with them and we could go back and forth on it. But reality is Texas probably scores on the next play, right? The way they were running the ball. So let's not get caught up in the details like that. But man, the 4th down stop, all three of them, well, I guess the 2 running ones were just nut up or shut up time. And yeah, for all the talk that we don't have the SEC big boys or anything like that, man, like you said, Brett, they had 3 years to prep for this, and that was just culture play right there, one after another. So,
Fourth,
defensive line, hat tip to you. Well done.
oh yeah, fourth down comes down to who wants it more a lot of the
Mhm.
times, right? You know, it's most of the time it's the offensive line versus the defensive line. It's in the trenches. It's shoving people around. It's big boy football. And all three of the times A&M failed to get it, it's because our defensive line pushed through and met them in the backfield. When we needed it, you know, our offensive line created a big enough hole for Arch Manning to go run through it. So, you know, that's perfect for a rivalry game, right? Who wants this game more? And then just the quintessential poetic justice of our defense getting put in a shitty position because of a special teams block punt, right? A&M has to score a touchdown or and a field goal in order to tie this game up. They get it all the way down to second and goal on the 1 yard line or third and goal on the 1 yard line. They've got a couple plays to smash it in. They have to score a touchdown at some point in time. This is the closest they've been all night. It's not looking like their offense is going to be able to get them that deep in the red zone again. So Elko makes the decision to go for it. I don't really blame the play call. You got to say my best versus your best, and you got to take that chance. It's probably the best chance you have to get in the end zone. And Texas's defense just wanted it more. Apparently, Anthony Hill, in his press game conference, he said, you know, when they elected to go for it on 4th and 1 on the goal line, that him and a bunch of other guys just looked at each other and smiled. They said, because you're not getting in the end zone. I'm serious. That's what he said.
That's
And
awesome.
and sure enough, you know, they just closed that gap up. I don't think even if Ethan Burke doesn't make that tackle coming off the blind edge, I'm not sure he's getting in anyways.
Yeah.
We had that thing contained. So they just Texas's offensive line and defensive line just wanted it more, and it shows up in these fourth down plays. All four of the fourth down plays went Texas's way.
Yeah. Yeah, I
For
was
sure.
surprised on any of those that Marcel Reed didn't keep. He's good enough
That's
to
yeah.
bounce.
Yeah, that was interesting, and they didn't trust his arm either in those situations.
Maybe it was when he got banged up because he got banged up like early in the second quarter after
Yeah.
a sack or something like that. So maybe he just wasn't right.
Yeah, I think they probably didn't want to do a shotgun and have a you know essentially a 4 yard, not
Make
oh,
it
it's the
feel
opposite
right.
of head start, handing the ball off in the backfield. But that's probably that hindsight, right? Being 2020, that might have been their best option was to have Marcel Reed keep it on the read option. Um, RPO is killer in the red zone because everybody's thinking run, run, run. And if you got a slant, all you got to do is beat the corner one on one because most of those linebackers are probably coming in.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's, fortunate it went our way, like you said. 4-0 on fourth downs for Texas. I think that was the key to the game. If those go the other way, I think
Yeah.
we're talking a different post game here. Um, Justin mentioned something. We'll touch on real quick. Some controversy. I think some Aggies called in, wanted us to talk about this. Two TDs by Texas. The first one by Arch with the pylon. Maybe nobody understands the rule there, but pylon is extension of the end zone. If you touch it, doesn't matter where the ball is in college football, it's a touchdown. And then the second one was the catch by Jaden Blue. Foot was clearly in from the video evidence, or you could not conclude that it was out. Um, and then caught the ball, I thought took it to the ground. It looked like it came out late. But so there's some controversy there on was that a completed catch, and then the other one was the no call or the pickup call on the targeting from Andrew McCubba. Yeah, I thought it was his head kind of hit, but yeah, I thought he more led with the shoulder, and then that he did hit the face mask. They obviously didn't determine that receiver was defenseless. So you guys got three plays to choose from. Pick one. Let's talk about it, and then we'll move on to the next segment.
Um, yeah, I'll take the targeting call. I thought my gut said, yeah, you can't do that. Like you definitely came across, and there was helmet to helmet contact. When you slow it down and look at it, which is weird in a targeting call because I get like you're trying to find out exactly was it the crown of the helmet, was it the side, and you can see. I mean, it was clearly the side of Makuba's helmet hitting the face mask. At that point, yeah, he wasn't a defenseless receiver, so he was, ready to turn up field. I get why they picked it up after looking at the replay, but live, again, I could see it. Like, yeah, throw the flag and at least go look at it, right? I think they did the right thing at the end of the day. I do not believe it was targeting. Wasn't at the crown of the helmet. I don't think he launched himself specifically at his head and neck area. I think he was basically trying to not usher him. He was trying to hit him hard out of bounds, right? But I don't think he used the inappropriate parts of his head or shoulder to hit his head and neck area on the receiver.
Let me add something to that too. I mean, the whole targeting rule is not intended to remove that type of play, right? The targeting is supposed to protect players. Those types of hits are perfectly legal, and those aren't the ones that you want to eliminate from the game. You know, that's just a hard hit where you're trying to dislodge the ball. And I just want to talk about how important it was that Makuba stayed in, because if it was targeting, he would have been ejected. Later in the game, there was I think it was like a little post route by the tight end that would have, and he caught the ball.
Yeah.
And Makuba came and put his shoulder right on the ball as he was catching. It would have been a first down. Makuba dislodged it. So, yeah, that definitely had some ramifications later in the game. I mean, obviously, we know Makuba is super good, but he also had an impact play later in the game that forced them to punt. As far as the Jaden Blue touchdown goes, quick note: I heard this morning, and sources cannot confirm, but I heard that Jaden Blue and Bryce Anderson, the safety for Texas A&M, are cousins. And Jaden Blue actually caught that touchdown pass against Bryce Anderson. That was Bryce Anderson in coverage. So maybe something to look up and see if they're actually cousins or not. But
Well, this is why like this rivalry and Thanksgiving usually means so much is you have, and these players, a lot of them played on the same teams in high school or against each other in high school. Because these are the two premier college football programs in the state. And so most players that want to stay in state are going to one of these two schools, and there's a lot of familiar blood, bad blood. Um, but yeah, back to the tackling, Brett. I was just thinking, I wonder what the SEC guy would think about, these targeting calls and I know in the SEC we tackle with our whole body, our arms and our legs. Um, so you know, I think only Houston fans of the show will recognize who SEC guy is, but
maybe
he might. I think we're going to have him make an appearance in future episodes.
Yeah, I heard we got him on the line for.
Yeah.
Back to the Jaden Blue. I mean, so did the ruling on the field was incomplete pass. Quinn thought it was a touchdown. Jaden Blue made a heck of a play. They reviewed it. He clearly had his foot in bounds. You could see a little bit of daylight between his foot and the sideline. So he got his foot in bounds. He made a great catch. At the very end of the play, you can see Bryce Anderson gets his hand on the ball and kind of shoves the ball further into Jaden Blue's lap, but the ball never ever comes out. The ball doesn't really move from his hand. Jaden Blue maintains contact, but Bryce Anderson kind of pushed it further down into his lap. I thought it was a good call. I could see it going either way, especially with the call on the field being incomplete. But that one went Texas's way. And I mean, Jaden Blue, he makes these catches. He did this against Washington last year, where it's like he somehow toe taps and it ends up being a huge play for the Longhorns. Golly, he is such a dynamic receiving running back. It's really fun to watch. Great hands.
Yeah, and I think that was my thoughts on all three plays was the fact that all three of them initially were A&M favoring A&M, and then the two touchdowns, especially to say there's like there was enough evidence to overturn it, which is a massive call. Like you saying,
clear
like,
and conclusive.
no doubt. Do what?
Clear and conclusive.
Right. And that's what shocked me on both of those. Like I said, I could have seen them going either way, but the fact that they just overturned them entirely was pretty shocking. So, you got to take what you can get, though. At the end of the day, I mean, they're the ones pumping in extra music, well past the time they're supposed to. So
Nick Saban called him out for that too
on
game day.
On game day, yeah. So you know what? Tit for tat.
Hey, real quick, that Mo Bamba song they play 100 times a game. And that's a Texas Longhorn basketball player. Also, that song is so trash. Like, if you listen to the lyrics of that, like, hey, this is what, your college fans are singing along to. at a college football game. Well, I mean,
It's because it's easy. People have had a few much to drink, right?
right.
Few many drinks.
I tried to read the lyrics to my wife and she didn't want to hear it. So, she's a good, honest Aggie, right? And um anyway, she handled it well. Um, let's talk turnovers real quick. Texas actually lost a turnover battle. I thought the intercept it was 2-1, right, Justin? Or it
Dude,
was 2-2. Sorry, the late one I forget that sealed the game. But the let me talk the first one, Michael Taft interception. I felt the game was A&M their first drive. They took it all the way downfield, missed it on 4th and 1. I think that was the second drive. They were
Yep.
driving down the field again. After that interception by Taft, A&M's offense was not the same. I think that, like or Brett said, Marcel Reed got a little tentative after that. They might have started to go away from the passing game a little bit. But yeah, that was great play by Michael Taft, and I thought he really set the tone early on defense. And he's one of my players of the game, and totally underrated. Like we've talked about it all year. Like, where does Texas get these walk-on white safeties that just come and and play really well? So kudos to Michael Taft for that first pick, and then obviously, so we got the two Quinn turnovers, and then the one to seal it. I'll talk about the one to seal it, and you guys can talk about the other red zone turnovers. But um, what was that? Trey Moore, we've talked about all year. Kind of quiet at the beginning of the season. Man, he's really stepped it up these last few games. Um, sack, fumble, and who's there to pick it up? Possibly player of the game, Vernon Broughton.
I think so.
Big number 45, all over the place.
Hmm.
Get on the ball to close the game. Right there by the sideline too. I was so nervous. Like, don't go out of bounds and then touch it, and like get it, just get on it. Don't try to pick it up. So yeah, 2-2. I stand corrected. Um, Texas turnovers. You guys want to, Brett? You want to take one or take both?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take. I mean, the first one was a killer, right? I was talking to my cousin actually before the game, and I said, he's like, what bet should I make? And he's like, the money line, first quarter A&M money line. He's like, that's a no brainer. That one's gonna hit. And I was like, no, Texas actually plays pretty well in the first quarter. I was like, if I was gonna bet against Texas, it'd be the third quarter, right? If I wanted to do a money line bet. And then sure enough, right out the gate, we get the ball back. Texas makes an incredible drive all the way down the field. We're going for the jugular, making good reads. And then what happens? Tip ball. I think DJ Hicks reached over Cam Williams to bat that ball up. Cornerback who was all over. I think it was Ryan Wingo that was
Yeah.
that was running the route. The cornerback though is just in perfect position already. Tip ball makes it even easier. Takes it to the house for 7, and ultimately takes what would have been a Aggie crippling drive to take it to 24-0, makes it a 17-7 game and brings it back in it. There's a couple things. I don't think Quinn should have made the throw in the first place. The sidearm definitely hurt too, because I mean, Cam Williams is tall. DJ Hicks gets a hand up. Throwing it sidearm, you lower the trajectory of the ball already, so it just makes it easier to get your hands on. There's a lot of things that went wrong on that. I out routes always scare me to death. Quinn's been historically really good at them. So if that ball didn't get tipped, what would have happened? I don't think he would have picked it off because Quinn usually puts it in a place only his receiver can get. But still, you don't want to see that down the red zone. You got to clean that up. Certainly cannot have turnovers, and you got to convert for points there.
Yeah, I was actually going to say I think it gets picked even if it isn't tipped. Because if you go and look at that replay, their DB saw it the whole way. He was cutting in front of Wingo. Unless it was going to be real high or something like that, I think it was a pick anyways. So I think it was just a bad read from the beginning. And then the other one, I mean, that's a little bit of pocket presence. Don't get me wrong, but that guy just made a great play, get around on top of Quinn, and just came around, punched it down, which we returned the favor when we sealed the game with Trey Moore's forced fumble. So that was nice. But man, one was in the third quarter, one was in the fourth quarter, right? Isn't
Um,
that right? Because they were both
but
took up a lot of time, went all the way
yeah,
down into the red zone, and I mean, we at the very least we could have gotten 3 points there, but there's a good argument to say that game should have been 31-0, right? 17-7 does not
Don't
show.
forget, Bert Auburn missed a field goal too.
That's
So
right,
there's 1 point
exactly.
left on the board.
Right, exactly. So 34 even, right?
Yeah, they're both in the third, Justin.
Both in the third quarter. Okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, and Bert Auburn, God, you were my favorite kicker for a long time. I don't think we should kick any more field goals outside of 30 yards. But yeah, the two turnovers, they were just at least we drove all the way down the field and then give the Aggies a short field. Like so when it happened with Georgia, we were on our side of the 50. These were both happening in the red zone, which is a killer, but we ate up a bunch of clock, went all the way down, showed that our offense is still working. All right, don't turn the ball over on one of them, and you're in a better spot, obviously. So at the end of the day, got to clean that up, got to get better, but at least they're happening on that side of the field now.
Yeah, transition to special teams. Missed field goal, Bert Auburn. What's going on with this guy? I thought he was thought he was supposed to be, really good this year. He's missed a bunch of field goals all year.
He's been disappointing to say the least.
Yeah.
And then
And we put him on scholarship too.
Yeah, well, maybe we should cut his hair. It's the opposite, Samson effect. Specialty A&M won special teams. They blocked punt was huge, and it was also huge that he tripped and wasn't able to scoop and score. That's what Mike Elko also talked about. Somebody asked him, do you tell your players to jump on it or scoop and score? And he said 1,000,000% scoop and score. The guy tripped and fell and just got on it. So kind of a dumb question. But those kind of questions get asked by these Aggie fan reporters.
I
But yeah,
want to mention something on that block punt. So Justin said something like, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. We were talking about special teams a little bit. And I think it was Justin said, I have a bad feeling that there's going to be a special teams play in this Texas A&M game that could potentially change the outcome of the game. When I saw that block punt, I was literally cursing your name, Justin. And I was like, fuck, Justin warned us all about this.
I looked into my crystal ball.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So when it happened, I was just like, we freaking spoke this into existence. But no, man, that could have been killer. But hey, what happens? 4th and 1, baby.
Yep.
All right. Quinn, first half Quinn, another just like last week, excellent. Second half Quinn, 2 turnovers.
But don't let it take away from how good he still played in the second half.
Totally.
The 2 turnovers sucked. Don't get me wrong.
No, he played great. And the first one, both of those were kind of, fluky. Again, he's not typically a runner. He was trying to slide. Give him credit for that. Great play by that Aggie defender to punch the ball out. The first one, the tip pass. Again, those are scary. Those out routes. We've done well on them. But yeah, I think Quinn's playing his best football, and bad plays happen, mistakes happen, and sometimes ball bounces the wrong way. I think A&M had a fumble like on the next drive, Marcel Reed did, and it bounced right into an Aggie offensive lineman. So sometimes those fumbles go your way, sometimes they don't. And I think the way Texas was running the ball, I think it helped out that we really didn't have to throw the ball and put a lot on Quinn at the end of the game. But I forgot who the announcers were for the game. I think it was Herbstreit, right? He was talking. He made a joke. He said, Quinn doesn't look composed at all, and Quinn's just standing there, and he looks 100% composed.
Yeah, I don't know if he misspoke there or what. I heard.
No, I think it was a joke. I think it
was a joke. Yeah, I thought it was a joke.
Okay. And it's hard to do as an announcer because you can't really see the tongue in cheek expression. But yeah, I thought Quinn was great. I think turnovers happen in rivalry games. He bounced back, I felt, when it mattered most and helped will this team to win.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, speaking of which, kind of the good part of the game for me, I mean, we talked about a lot about the bad. Dude, the run game. Trey Wisner, 33 runs, 186 yards. Would have been nice to get him a touchdown, but he gashed that defense all night long. So if they're going to keep running like this, I know, like we talked about, Texas didn't get the 1,000-yard rusher in the regular season, but if he's going to keep running like this, he's got Georgia and at least one playoff game. I mean, I'm excited to see what else they can do against some of these better teams. And that offensive line just they've found their push. They're moving the ball well. So I love the run game right now. And it's Trey Wisner or bust. He's my player of the game, in case I
Yeah.
wasn't clear. Sorry.
Yeah. Brett,
Defense, lots of great
Brett,
defensive players.
Brett, talk about Quinn, then players of the game.
Yeah, I mean Quinn. I was really impressed with Quinn overall game. The red zone turnovers, they're unfortunate. A little bit of luck, but A&M's going to have a little bit of juju playing at Kyle Field. But I'm excited to see what Quinn can do once his ankle gets healthier and see what he can do against Georgia this week. My players of the game have to go to the defensive line. I mean, Vernon Broughton, he was a big toss-up recruit between Texas and Texas A&M for the longest time out of, I think, Cy Ridge. And I remember when he came to us, he just didn't have much of a career until his super senior year. And for him to go out this way at College Station is pretty awesome. And then Trey, don't give up on me, Justin Moore.
Hey,
I mean, the
I've
big
been on a Trey Moore train for a
strip
couple
sack to end the game. So much fun to be able to run the ball, to kneel the clock out too in that environment. So getting that turnover to finish the game was pretty awesome. So those two guys plus I mean Barron Sorrell, Ethan Burke, all these Anthony Hill, Young Lafau had a forced fumble. All of these guys on the defense. I mean, every single one of them could be players of the game.
Barron Sorrell should have had that pick.
Oh, man.
Hands, man.
Yeah, Michael Taft dropped one too.
Yeah.
Such strong hands.
Michael Taft could have had two.
Yeah, Michael Taft was great. Trenches, probably player of the game. Wisner. It was fun. Fun to watch. I got a little nervous there after that pick six, but otherwise, I felt like it was, this Texas team dominated. Like you guys said, probably could have been uglier on the scoreboard had we not made some mistakes. I think it's one thing I'm looking forward to for this team is you got to find a way to, I think finish games better. Um, but Brett, let's talk about some pajamas and your closeout thoughts, and then Justin close us out after that.
Yeah, so I've got a brother-in-law that I've mentioned it on the podcast before. We have a standing bet that whoever wins this game gets to pick out the pajamas of the loser for Christmas morning. So Connor, you're listening. You've got some Longhorn pajamas that you're going to be wearing on December 25th. So go ahead and book that.
It's a
What a fun
thumb.
game! What a fun game to be a part of, to watch. The butterflies, everything was real. It was such an important one for us to put an old-fashioned SEC run the ball, run the damn ball, whooping on them was outstanding. Offensive line, defensive line, just domination. This could have gotten out of hand. It could have been 31-0. It could have been 34-0. I'm not sure if if we were still playing, if A&M would be scoring any points right now. So, I mean, just fun overall. Can't wait to see what the future is. Arch, we didn't talk a ton about him, but goodness gracious, was he ready to be playing this game too? So the future looks pretty bleak for A&M right now.
Hmm. Bleak is a strong word to use. I feel you though. They are probably in a bad spot today. But no, all in all, it was a great game. I loved watching it. Rivalry renewed, and I hope we get more of them like that in the future. And to touch on it real quick, no fights at the end of the game. We stayed off the logo, like you mentioned earlier in off air. Super classy between both sides. So nice to see that after a day full of skirmishes.
Enjoy your meaningless bowl game, A&M.
Yeah. Well, what a great way to wrap up Thanksgiving. And as always, a little biased. What are we? 100% truthful. Maybe heavily biased today. Unfiltered as well. But 41st Acre, we are out. Hook 'em horns. Talk to you guys later.